taka tadhin taka tadhin taka 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 tadhin taka tadhin taka talangu tadhin taka tadhin taka talangu taka tadingina tata tagadita tatagadita gatata jonu tagadita gatata jonu tatarikata taka tatarikata tarikata kita taka
takata gadite tatagadita hatata jonu tagadita hatata jonu tatarikata taka tatarikata tarikata kita taka
tatagadita gatata jonu tatagadita gatata jonu
takata gadite tata hatata jonu takata gadite tata hatata jonu
tatagadita gatata jonu
takata gadite tata hatata jonu
gatata jonu
tata hatata jonu tatagadita hatata jonu tatagadita hatata jonu ta hatata jonu tata hatata jonu ta
di ta ta di ta tadita tadita tagadigu tadigana tom tadita tagadigu tadigana tom tadita tagadigu tadigana tom ta di ta ta di ta tadita tadita tagadigu tadigana tom tadita tagadigu tadigana tom tadita tagadigu tadigana tom ta di ta ta di ta tadita tadita tagadigu tadigana tom tadita tagadigu tadigana tom tadita tagadigu tadigana tom ta.
Yes, you are in a great city, enchanting and enticing Madras, where the ancient and the modern coexist in perfect harmony. Madras has an irresistible aroma of tradition, a fragrance of melody and rhythm, which is at once young and timeless. If these fisher folk have been at sea from the beginning of civilization, the weavers have been at work for over 20 centuries. As the turbulence and tempo of life increased, a city has emerged. But the voice is the same, the spirit ever youthful. From such centers as Kanchipuram, Madras sells a million-hued rainbows of saris. This shop belongs to a family involved in silk trade for many generations. Indeed, there are several versions of how Madras city got its name. Let us be content with one of them. When the British East India Company leased a site to build a fort near the beach in the 17th century, the official grant of land was given by Damarla brothers, sons of Chennappa. Hence, the city came to be known as Chennapatnam, a name by which we Tamils call our city even today. However, long before the East India Company was founded, the Portuguese had a strong foothold in the ancient port town of Mylapore. The wealthy and influential Madeira Portuguese family inspired a local village headman to call himself Madarasan. Hence, the name Madras has remote Portuguese roots. According to 16th century Portuguese literature, the potent city of Maliapur, rich, vast and grand, had been pushed back from the shore and the fort of Santhome established. Thus, although it has been rebuilt and even relocated, the Shiva temple of Mylapore is ancient, going back in antiquity.
ஊனாகி உயிராகி உண்மையுமாய் இன்மையுமாய்.
The annual festival of 63 Saivite saints is a highlight of Mylapore.
யான் எனதென்று அவரவரை கூத்தாட்டு வானாகி நின்றாயை என் சொல்லி வாழ்த்துவனை.
This village, Mylapore, meaning the village of peacocks, now a crowded hub of Madras city, was the home of Thiruvalluvar, the great Tamil poet whose work Thirukkural is a 2000-year-old book of ethics.
வாழ்த்துவனே என் சொல்லி வாழ்த்துவனே.
Madras has built a recent monument to poet Valluvar, patterned in stone to resemble an ancient wooden chariot of these temples. The Vaishnavite tradition is equally strong. Triplicane, another crowded area of middle-class Madras, originally Thiruvallikeni, or the village of Lily Ponds, has a centuries-old Vaishnavite temple preserving the Vedic tradition. These temples were the home of Sadar, the dance form of Devadasis, literally meaning the maids of God. With the legal abolition of prostitution by the state government in the 1920s, it looked as though this classical art would perish with this burden of shame. Under the leadership of great artists like Rukmani Devi Arundale, this dance form gained a new life of dignity, with the old name Sadar changing to Bharatanatyam over the decades. Kalakshetra, the school of arts founded by Rukmani Devi, vibrates with vitality. Even as several Hindu temples flourished in the villages which became part of Madras city, this area became one of the earliest to receive the message of Jesus within a few years of martyrdom. Yes, tradition has it that St. Thomas, one of the apostles of Christ, settled down at Little Mount, Saidapet. The legend is that St. Thomas lived in this cave. This Santhome Cathedral is believed to have been built over the tomb of St. Thomas. Situated at the southern end of the city, St. Thomas Mount, where the saint attained martyrdom, has the highest elevation in the sprawling city of 4 million people today, with another million in the outskirts. Madras is not merely a modern port city, but has the distinction of being a city with a live game sanctuary right in the middle of the city. The Deer Park in the sprawling forest area in the heart of the city houses the Raj Bhavan, the state governor's residence. The Valaja Mosque at Tiruvallikeni is truly unique, for it is the only mosque in the world which has a chronogram composed by a non-Muslim. Raja Mukund Lal Kirad, a Persian scholar and devout Hindu, composed the Arabic chronogram engraved in this mosque.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له لا إله إلا الله وحده صدق وعده ونصر عبده وعز جنده
In the year 1600, the East India Company was incorporated by royal charter in England to carry on trade in Indian goods. When their representatives, Andrew Cogan and Francis arrived in India's east coast, they realized the need for a foothold to develop their trade. They acquired a site near the beach and built a fortified warehouse. Completed on St. George's Day in 1640, the Fort St. George became the nucleus, not only for the city of Madras, but for the entire range of activities of British Empire building. Temporal power has remained in this fort for over 350 years, almost without a break. The state government of Tamil Nadu functions from here, with the offices of ministers, the Legislative Assembly, and the Secretariat building housed inside the fort. St. Mary's Church at the Fort St. George was the first Protestant church built in India. Elihu Ale, who later became governor of Madras, got married in this church, as these records show. The prestigious Yale University in America was named after him. Remember that America was then a colony and India was yet to become one. There were periods of much cross currents of ethnic presence in Madras. The Armenians from West Asia settled in large numbers and contributed to the commercial and social life of Madras, now symbolized by the only remaining link with that ethnic group, the Armenian church in Georgetown. Reverend Shamavonian founded the first Armenian newspaper in the world at Madras. The Christian tradition continued to inspire Madras in more ways than one. St. Andrew's Church in Pundamalli High Road is outstanding for its stained glass panels and overall architectural beauty. Getting back to the Fort St. George, it was in this fort that the basic rules of government were formulated in 1670, which were later used for the whole of British India and subsequently inherited by Free India. Perceptions differ. You may like to say that the red tape was invented here. Indeed, in its early years, this was just a warehouse and factory for a commercial company. But its officers woke to a new situation in 1746, when the French forces won the Battle of Adyar in what is now a posh residential area of South Madras. The British learnt a new lesson from the French. They realized that Indian sepoys trained in Western methods of warfare would help establish a stronger foothold for the British in India. And so, Stringer Lawrence founded the Indian Army. It is with these troops from the Madras Army that Robert Clive won the Battle of Plassey and gained the right to administer Bengal. If the Indian Army was thus born in Madras, the earliest revolts against the British masters was also in the same region. Several decades before the First War of Independence of 1857, the Indian sepoys organized their mutiny at Vellore in Tamil Nadu, 60 kilometers from Madras city. On the 6th of July, 1806, at midnight, the Indian sepoys showed that they were capable of conducting a mutiny against the British. The rebellion of Vellore, in which several Englishmen were killed, was however brought under control by British troops. If at one time it was said that all roads lead to Rome, today many avenues of research take us to Madras, revealing the crucial role played by the city in shaping the history of modern India. It was from Madras that an empire was built, and it was here that the seeds of revolt were sown. The idea to form the Indian National Congress was also born here. While Madras proudly mothered many valiant freedom fighters, ironically, it was in this city that a controversial political party flourished, with a declared commitment to support the British Raj and oppose the freedom movement. It is here in Madras that several modern ideas and institutions of India were born, in medicine, science and technology, as well as theology. Well, that's what the second and concluding part of this documentary will all be about, the many firsts of Madras city.